everybody, my name is Shaelyn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see, somebody's birthday today. And yes, I am posting one day earlier today than I usually do because it is my birthday. Today I am 24 years old, and honestly that sounds so crazy to say. Anyway, I didn't know what I wanted to do as like a special video for my birthday, for my first year on YouTube. So I was throwing around a few ideas, and I used to watch a lot of YouTubers obviously back in the day, and for their birthdays, sometimes they would do like X amount of things that I've learned in their age years. So obviously you can tell by the title, that's what I'm doing for my birthday this year. So welcome to my video of 24 things that I've learned in 24 years. I thought that this would be a good first YouTube birthday video because, I mean, considering I've been through a lot in the past 6 years now, that I feel like I have quite a bit of wisdom to share with people. So anyway, this is going to be a little bit of a lengthy video, and my videos have been a little bit lengthy lately. I'm just gonna try to cut to the chase as quickly as I can. So let's jump into it. Number one, and I have them written down, that's why I'm looking down. Sorry, I'm not making eye contact very well, but first of all, I just wanna say that the majority of these things that I'm going to be listing off are on the deeper side, so if you're not in the mood for deep things, then come back to this video or click off, whatever. Number one, getting older is inevitable, but growing up is optional. This could go one of two ways, I was thinking when I came up with this first point. Obviously getting older is inevitable, like involuntarily we all age, we all get older, it is what it is, but growing up is optional. That can be taken one of two ways. You can either choose to educate yourself and become more mature for your age and be a better person, or, you know, you could also take it in the way of like staying a child at heart, and not letting go of like your younger self so that you can reflect on that or kind of stay true to your like core self, which I like to think that like my true self is like who I was as a child. I don't know. I feel like I think about my younger self, the younger Shaelyn, often. Oh, this is gonna get sad. Oh my god, we're only on number one. Relax. Okay. Anyway, yeah, that was number one. Number two, there's always more you can learn. Always. That's a good one. Again, going back to the first one, educating yourself. There's so much free material out there that you can utilize and make yourself a better version of yourself. So I just think it takes a lot of like self-discipline and like ambition, I guess is the right word, to really want to go the extra mile and make yourself a better version of you. So I feel like I can definitely relate to that, because there was a long period there after my stroke where I was just kind of over like trying to do anything about my disability, and like rehabilitation was not my main priority by any means. I was just kind of like over it, like I've been there, done that type thing. So yeah, I think one and two can go together, because like it takes being mature and having ambition to want to go the extra mile to better yourself. Okay, number three, as cliche as it is, practice makes perfect. I cannot tell you how many times that this exact saying has proven to be true in my real day-to-day life. Whether throughout my life, whether it was convincing my dad to take me to the soccer fields after school, to learn how to kick a ball to get off the ground. That was something when I played soccer that was always a really hard thing for me for some reason when I was younger. I could never get my foot under the ball to get it like up in the air. And everybody that I played soccer with could do that. And I was so confused why I couldn't do that. I could just kick the ball like really hard. So that's one example from like my younger days that I did. I think the first day that I convinced my dad to take me to the soccer fields to do that, I stayed there from like after school, which was like, oh God, what, like 3 p.m. I stayed there until like 8 o'clock at night, and I just kept like kicking balls at the net, at my dad in the net even sometimes if he wanted to jump in the net. But I stayed at that field until I got that ball off the ground. And when I did, I felt like a changed woman. But yeah, that's just like a silly kind of wholesome example, I guess, from my younger days. Number 4, the value of patience and moving slower with things. In brackets, I put take your time. So I like to believe, and I often think about this, at the time when I did have my stroke, I had so many things going on. I think I had 3 part-time jobs at the time. I was a full-time student, and at the time I was going through midterms at school, so I was going through a lot. I was under so much stress, and the thing that kept me going the most was knowing or believing that my stroke was a sign that I needed to really cut things out of my life, take it so much slower than I was, because I was just like, I had myself spread so thin across so many different things and commitments that like I was stressed all the time. And honestly, stress is really bad for you. It's really not a healthy thing. So what I'm trying to say is my stroke taught me the value of patience and moving slower with things and how to take my time. I definitely value that lesson to this day. 6 years later, I still, when I catch myself trying to do too many things at once or commit to too many things at once, I have to take a step back and be like, okay, let's figure out what we can do first and go from there. So that's a big one. Number 5 is do what makes you happy, not what makes other people happy. That's a great one. I find myself even in situations to this day where I've always been like a huge people pleaser. It's just who I am. I'm a very true Libra. If we're getting into zodiac signs now. But I've always been a huge people pleaser. I always value the opinion and what people think of me a lot. So it's always in the back of my mind that I'm always worried about what other people think of me. And that can be a good thing, and that can be a bad thing. It really stresses me out sometimes, if I'm being honest. Yeah, sometimes it can be a really hard thing because it makes you like doubt yourself and what you're doing. It's definitely been a journey to have to like learn to do things for me and not for anybody else, no matter what people say or what people are thinking of you. Just know that you're living your best life and you're happy with what you got going on at the moment, so that's all that matters. So yeah, that is a big one that I totally live by and stress to anybody. Do what makes you happy, not what other people want you to do to make them happy. Anyway, number 6, making mistakes isn't always a negative thing. This is a great thing. I feel like this might be kind of common sense for a lot of people. But I think back, and a lot of mistakes that I've made have actually turned into a better lesson for myself, and it's helped me learn not to do those things. So then, like, in the end, the mistake ended up being more of a positive than a negative thing, because I learned more than I knew going into making that mistake, if that makes sense. Number 7, learn who your true friends are and don't waste time on those who don't value it being your time. This one, again, hits really close to home, because this definitely happened to me. After my stroke, I had really only 2 friends that actually stuck around and stayed with me through my healing process, and that I still have to this day. Aww. Oh shoot. Oh my god, I did not think that one was gonna make me emotional. What the hell? I think I'm okay. God, sorry about that. I did not think that was gonna make me emotional at all. Anyway. I'm okay, I swear. Like, I'm really happy with the friends I do have, and honestly happy that I don't have fake friends. I went through a variety of, like, receiving and losing friends throughout my stroke recovery journey. Absolutely, if you catch it in time and you realize that people aren't valuing your time, get away from that and don't waste your time with it. So, number 8 is a little bit on a lighter note and a little bit funny. But number 8 is being a tall girl is empowering and not unattractive. So, okay, I want to take this back to when I was in junior kindergarten. That's when, like, my first memory of being tall is, I believe. That's as early as I can remember. I remember our teacher had us lining up one by one on the wall, and she was marking all of our heights, and I was one of the tallest people in my class. Even at, like, that young of an age. I was 4. Was I 4? I think, I'm not sure what time in the year it was, but I started JK when I was 3 years old, because I was turning 4 in like a month, because my birthday is in October. Obviously, it's October 20th. She had us all line up and measuring us, and I remember being so proud that I was, like, the tallest person in class for the most part, except for, like, I think 1 or 2 guys maybe. But then as I got older, obviously the like, cool thing was to be, like, a short girl for, like, what guys, I guess, found attractive was the shorter girls, because if you were taller or the same height as a guy, it was just, like, awkward looking if you were, like, coupled up with them. But anyway, that being that young, you shouldn't be worried about relationships, but it was a thing. It happens. It is what it is. And one thing my dad and my mom actually always instilled in me was that being tall was, like, an amazing thing, and oh my gosh, you're so beautiful if you're tall, whatever. But I never saw it as that. And that's why I have really bad posture now, because even in pictures, and, like, if I was sitting next to a guy, I always, like, kind of would hunch to make myself shorter. I've ended up learning that being on the taller side, I'm only 5'7", which that's not even that tall, but it is on the taller side for a girl, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I love my height, and I definitely appreciate it more now than I did back then. So number 9, my naturally curly hair is beautiful and I love embracing it. So this one, I have another little story about this one. Basically, I used to straighten my hair, like, every single day in high school. My hair was fried. Like, it was awful. It was horrible. I remember, and the only reason why I did this And I blame this dude to this day because had he not said anything, I would have probably worn my hair natural more often throughout high school. But when I was in 9th grade, I think it was like the second week of school or something like that. And like you're a freshman in high school, like you're just starting your high school experience. So this was kind of awful. Anyway, so right in the beginning of the morning, I walked in school, my hair was curly. I had it all like extreme curls, like even more so than it is right now. And I was walking to my locker, walking down the hallway, and this guy that I thought I was friends with, honestly, I went to grade school with him. He stopped me and in front of everybody, like my hallway was crowded with 9th graders, like, cause that's the 9th grade hallway. All of our lockers were pretty much in that hallway. He goes, "Whoa, Shaelyn, wow, your hair is curly. How did you do that?" And I took it as a bad thing because the cool thing back then was to have pin straight hair. And it just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way and I was embarrassed of it. I think I put it like up in a ponytail or a bun like immediately after that. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never wearing my hair curly ever again. So I didn't. After that day, I decided I'm never wearing my hair curly again. And I literally fried my hair all throughout high school. In 12th grade, I had these little tiny bangs. I swear to God, they were like this short all the way around the perimeter of my head. My mom like couldn't believe it. My mom's a hairdresser, so she was like, "What did you do to your hair?" And I think it might have had something to do with those headbands that had like the sticky inside to like grip your hair so that they didn't fall off. Because I would wear those a lot. I think that those aided in some breakage in the front of my head and all the way around the perimeter of my head because that's where headbands go. But I mean, I'm sure the hair straightening with a flat iron did not help that either. So yeah, after my stroke, obviously I couldn't straighten my hair like voluntarily when I wanted to. So I kind of just had no choice but to embrace my curly hair. And I'm so happy that I did. I have the healthiest hair that I've had ever and the longest hair I've had ever, except for when I was like really young and I used to wear my hair curly all the time. And yeah, and going back to like my mom and my dad telling me that like being tall was a great thing and it wasn't such a bad thing. I distinctly remember like being in the car with my dad and having my hair straight and him being like, "Shaelyn, like, why don't you just leave your hair curly? People pay like thousands of dollars." This was an exaggeration, obviously, I'm pretty sure, but he was like, "People pay thousands of dollars to have hair just like you, and you were born with it, so why not embrace it?" And I was like, "Dad, you don't get it. Like, straight hair is in right now. Like, nobody likes curly hair. It's too wild. It's like too ugly. Nobody likes curly hair, whatever." But now I'm eating my words, obviously, because I love my curly hair and I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it. Number 10, there is always some sort of bright side to everything, whether it's obvious or not. So I think I've learned at least that for the most part, for most things, I can think of something in my head that is a bright side to any situation. Honestly, any scary time or negative moment, I've been able to think of a positive to it, whether it's something that I've learned, whether it's anything that bettered my situation. I can think of at least one thing good that comes out of any situation. So I'm not sure if I said this in a YouTube video yet, but after my 100 subscriber goal is hit, I'm going to have a 1,000 subscriber goal. For that milestone, I'm going to put out a story time video of the time that I got stuck in Mexico. And it was like a Mexico trip from hell. I think that's what I'm gonna title it. I literally didn't have a way out of that country and I was stuck in a pretty bad part of Mexico. And I always think back to it. I'm still pretty traumatized, I guess, from that experience, but I'm able now to think that I got some lessons out of that experience, and I'm now able to confidently travel independently, and I kind of forced myself to come up with a bunch of like safety tips of how to travel safely alone as a woman with a disability who might seem a little bit more vulnerable to the average person or even like men. So yeah, that is a story time that will come when I hit 1,000 subscribers. So when I hit 100 subscribers, just keep that in the back of your heads that I'm still working towards more goals. 1,000 subscribers is the next one after 100, so don't forget that. Number 11, everyone has a story or a struggle that they're dealing with. This is such a huge one to me because in the past, I found myself thinking, why me? Especially when I had my stroke. I was like, why me? Why not this person? Which that is a horrible way to think about things like that. Everybody has their own thing that they have to deal with in life, and everybody has their own story, like I said. And another thing to think about with this one is when you're speaking to anybody on the daily, I always treat everybody with as much kindness and gentleness, I guess, as I can, as possible. Because honestly, you really never know what somebody's going through. You don't know if your server at a restaurant got some really life-altering news right before they walked into their shift and they have to just kind of power through it and get through their shift. So you really just want to give everyone as much kindness and respect as possible. That's always been a very significant principle I hold with me and I practice all the time. I don't think, unless somebody's wronged me, like severely wronged me, and I might consider not being the nicest to them, but for the most part, I try and treat everybody with a large amount of kindness and gentleness. So I think that you guys should too. Number 12. This one, I actually think I came across this one more recently in the past like 4 or 5 months. And it's actually helped me so much, like more than I could ever imagine actually. So number 12 is dwelling or overthinking things that affect only you and no one else. So for this one, I am super guilty of overthinking situations and like replaying scenarios in my head that make me cringe and make me just like regret so much stuff that I've either said or done. And honestly, like, if you think about it, the person that witnessed whatever you said or did that is making you cringe so hard probably hasn't even thought twice about it, and if they did, it probably hasn't happened in a long time. But I will think back to things even that I did like when I was in grade school. It's just so insignificant at this point, but for some reason I keep it in the back of my head, and if I think about that, I will sit there and I'll just like grit my teeth really hard and like shake my head and just like almost be in like disbelief that like that happened, or like just like experience more and more embarrassment from experiencing what I did. And I think it was a post on Instagram or something like that. It was like overthinking something like that affects only you and nobody else. So like it's not gonna better you, it's not gonna better anybody else, it's not gonna hurt anybody else, it's only hurting you. So don't think about it. And I find myself when I do end up like starting to cringe or like overthink something, I think back to this and I will tell myself, this is only hurting you right now. It's not going to affect anybody else but you. So just stop thinking about it and you'll feel better. And for the most part, That has done pretty well for me, and I've been able to let go of whatever I was thinking of at the moment. All right, and we're halfway done. So number 13, the power of meditation. This has absolutely helped me so much. I would try to meditate and try to do what I can to meditate before, but in the beginning of the pandemic, my husband actually told me about an app called Balance. I'll put their little like app logo somewhere on the screen here. But they were having like free memberships for new members, I think it was. I loved it so much. I used it almost every single day. It was a part of my daily routine. They have so many. They have like a huge variety. This isn't sponsored, by the way, at all. I wish it was. Honestly, I love the app Balance, but I'm not sponsored. If they want to sponsor me, wouldn't mind it. Reach out to me, Balance. Love you guys. But they have like a huge variety of different meditations with different voices. It's all audio recordings, and they really just like guide you through meditating, and they have like different goals for you to like do better, like different skills like mindfulness, focus, self-guided meditation, I think is one of them. And mostly I would use it for sleep. That was like the main thing that I would use it for, because I find myself most nights staying up honestly until like ungodly hours, like 3 or 4 a.m. sometimes, just because I can't shut my brain off and I just can't like let things go and fall asleep. So the sleep meditations absolutely help me. Love them, still use them to this day. I even like purchased a whole year membership after my year of free membership expired. So if that doesn't tell you how much I love that app, then I don't know what does. Okay, this next one, this one's kind of a funny one too, but so true. Number 14, flossing daily isn't as bad as it seems. Honestly, my husband and I started, I'm pretty sure at the beginning of 2021, we started flossing and using mouthwash every single day after we brush our teeth at night. And honestly, I've been doing it for the entire year. I don't think I've missed one day. If I did miss any, I might have missed one day here or there. But yeah, honestly, before that, I rarely flossed. I would floss maybe like once a month to once every 2 months, if that. Definitely before dentist appointments, because let's be real, we've all been there, we've all done that. Just being real here, but yeah, honestly, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I don't feel fulfilled with my like hygiene routine if I don't floss every night now. It's like a part of my routine. I can't stop it now. So yeah, if you're not flossing every single day, this is your sign to start now. So start flossing every night, you won't regret it. Number 15, don't be ashamed of your disability, embrace it and use it to inspire others. So this is kind of what I'm doing with my YouTube channel. This was my main goal actually with my YouTube channel, was to learn to embrace my disability and use it to inspire others by showing relatable videos to others who might have hemiplegia, or just to anybody who might take everyday normal things for granted. So yeah, I'm happy to say that I'm not ashamed of my disability, and I have learned to just embrace it, and you know what, it's what it is. Nothing to hide here anymore. So number 16, if it/they don't spark joy, get rid of it. In brackets, purge often. This one I got from, I think it's a TV show on Netflix. It's called, I don't remember what it's called. But it's like, it's called, I'm referring to the Marie Kondo method. She says if it doesn't spark joy, then you don't need it or something along those lines. I'll put up maybe a screenshot referring to what she says. But yeah, I've definitely learned slowly but surely. Honestly, like, materialistic things are replaceable, and honestly, I feel like it causes me a lot more stress to own like an abundance of things. So I honestly go through a lot of my things at least every month, if not every 2 months or so, just to like get a fresh start. It's honestly very healthy for my mental health to do this and just purge and get rid of things that don't spark joy anymore. So number 17, do not enter a bad part of a country during a pandemic. In brackets, I put story time to come. So yeah, once again, that story, you guys, honestly, you guys probably wouldn't believe most of it, but I have receipts, I have screenshots, I have pictures, I have my husband, he experienced it with me, so he can back me on that. It was a Mexico trip from hell. I'm not even exaggerating that. Like, I spent days in a hotel room just bawling my eyes out because I did not know what to do, and I thought that I was stuck. I swear to God, I even reached out to celebrities thinking that they would have some pull. I reached out to the freaking president of the United States on Instagram. Like, I DM'd high up people just to see if they would see my message and get me out of that mess. And obviously nothing, they didn't answer me. But I ended up figuring it out anyway. It was a lot of money. It was quite the setback, and it was not the best thing. Obviously, it was pretty heart-wrenching, but I'm out of there and I am home safe now with my husband. So that's all that matters. But again, 1,000 subscribers and you will get that story time and you will not regret it. So another one of my many mistakes that I've made. Number 18, always buy medical insurance when traveling out of country. So I think I'll probably end up doing a story time about this too, but long story short, I have racked up quite the medical bill just because I thought that I would be fine and wouldn't need any alternative medical insurance when coming to visit my husband when I was coming from Canada. So if you guys didn't know, we're both from Canada. He's living here in the States on a visa to work. And that is what I am currently doing now. I am living in the States under my husband's work visa with him. So buy medical insurance when traveling out of country. That is, you're not invincible. You will need it eventually. So, well, hopefully you won't need it, but it's always a good thing. I was perfectly healthy for the most part, and I didn't think anything was gonna happen to me, and something happened to me, like out of the blue, literally. At 4 in the freaking morning, I woke up and all hell was breaking loose in my body, and yeah, now I have a giant medical bill, and I regret it. I regret paying like a couple $100s for some medical insurance. Learn from my mistakes, please. Anyway, let's blast through these last 5. Number 19, having high standards is okay. This one is a good one. I have gone through settling for things, specifically men, who did not treat me right, took me for granted, didn't appreciate me for what I am, and honestly, some of them probably were just using me because they thought, oh, like, she'll do whatever I want because she's disabled and what else is she gonna do? That's kind of a bad thing to say, but honestly, I'm almost positive that some of those things went through some of these men's mind that I've dealt with in the past, and it wasn't until October 2017 when I ended my last relationship before I met my husband that I realized I deserve more, and I can wait for somebody who's going to appreciate me and check all my boxes. And that's what I found. I found my husband Brandon, and I cannot be more thankful that I did that for myself, because who knows where I'd be right now and who I'd be with, you know, like certainly probably wouldn't have met my husband. I'm so grateful that I did that for me, and now I have a lifelong partner that checks all my boxes and is the best person for me. So ladies and men, I guess, if you're hearing this, have high standards. It's okay. You will find the person for you and somebody who makes you just so happy and will love you till no end. So, all right, number 20, it's never too late to start something new. So that kind of applies to my YouTube channel as well, but it can apply to so many other things. I used to think, I remember actually before my stroke, I was telling my dad, man, like, I wish I would have stuck to violin, because I don't know if anybody knows this about me, but in 2nd grade, I played the violin. I think I only did it for 1 year and then I gave it up. It was like so fun. I loved playing violin. I was actually pretty good at it, and I gave it up, and I don't know why. Who knows what good or bad would have came out of that, but I remember when I was like 16 or something like that, I was like, man, Dad, like, I wish I would have stuck with violin. Like, I really loved that instrument, and now I don't have an instrument that I'm really good at, and I would like to be good at something like that. And yeah, I guess we'll never know, but I used to think that at 16 it was too late to pick it back up, and I wish that I wouldn't have thought that, because who knows if I would have picked it up back then, if I would have even had a stroke, who knows, you know, like, maybe I would have been like some world famous violin player right now. Who knows, honestly, but yeah, I am 23, well, now, today I'm 24 years old, and I started my YouTube channel, how many videos ago? 11 YouTube videos ago. This is my 11th YouTube video, holy crap. But yeah, you're never too, it's never too late to start something new. For instance, this YouTube channel, I started when I was 23, almost 24, so. And now I'm 11 YouTube videos in, and I love this hobby, and I hope that I don't stop, because I don't have plans to ever stop, honestly. I have an abundance of YouTube video ideas, so I won't be stopping anytime soon, but I thoroughly love my hobby of, okay, my camera just stopped recording. I don't know what I was saying when it stopped recording. It didn't save the file that I just recorded, but if it somehow recovers, then I'm just gonna pick up on the next thing in my list. So, number 21, life is shorter than you think. So, this is a heavy one, obviously. Sure, a lot of people have lost loved ones very close to you, and it's been very hard. And I'm sure, honestly, people have had much shorter lives. I know somebody personally who lost their life extremely young, like way prematurely young, because they were very sick, and it was really heartbreaking. I didn't know them personally, but I knew them through family, and it was just really heartbreaking to watch. I've lost 3 very important men in my life. I think I lost my nono, my grandfather. I think I might have been like 10 years old, not really sure. But yeah, that was a hard one for me, because it was my first like close family member that I lost, I'm pretty sure. But then in more recent years, like talking in the last 4 years, I lost my father. He was only 52 years old, and that really opened my eyes to just how short life is. And then a short two-ish years later, I lost my godfather. He was even younger than my dad, I'm pretty sure, when he passed. And it's just like the most heartbreaking thing, to lose somebody close to you. It's life. People are born, people die. It's the circle of life. It's how life is, but it's just like hard, especially when you don't get all the moments that you want with somebody in life. You don't get to experience everything that you want to with them. So I can't urge you guys enough, if possible, to take advantage of all the moments that life has to offer, and definitely spend as much time with your loved ones as possible. Say I love you often. Say what you feel all the time. Don't hold back. Anyway, number 22, don't let fear get in the way of bettering yourself. So growing up and like my whole life, I've had a huge issue with dealing with change and anything that was routine in my life. I love routine. I love knowing what I have coming, kind of thing. And when I have been doing something for so long, it's just a nightmare for me to even think about switching it up and doing something different, or not doing that thing at all. I remember when I was younger, I would dance at this one specific location for my dance studio on Friday nights, and they ended up closing down that studio and like that location. And so I had to move to their main location, and I wasn't going to know a lot of the girls that were dancing on that night. I was going to know some of them because the girls that were on my night were also going to be moving to that location and that day, I'm pretty sure. But it was just a nightmare. I would bawl my eyes out every single night until I had to switch to that one location on that night. Ended up being great, ended up making so many new friends, and it was like such a great experience. Wouldn't change it for the world, but I was stuck in that like comfy routine. And I've had many scenarios in my life where I've actually not done something because of the fear of the unknown and the fear of change and whatnot. And I wish that I hadn't done that, because maybe I would have loved it or whatever, you know. That sucks to be scared of stuff like that, but I mean, other things will come, and it is what it is. Number 23, be mindful of your action. Your body is more fragile than you think. Obviously, this is going back to my stroke, and honestly, any injury that I've had, honestly, for my body. I tend to be very rough with my body. I'm not super rough with it now, but I used to be kind of like an impulsive, like more aggressive with myself type of person. I would push myself really hard. And the biggest thing was I never really thought twice about it. I never thought of like the consequences or the harm that I was doing to myself. So I've totally, absolutely learned to be more gentle with myself, because I deserve it, and I deserve self-love, and that just comes with growth and with time and whatnot. This last one is a pretty deep one. Number 24, learn to live with temporary discomfort rather than long-term regret. This one my husband actually helped me with, because we went through something when we first moved in together. We went through a time in our lives where we weren't the most financially stable, and we really were pinching pennies, and we had to make a lot of sacrifices to get him where he is today. And it was a lot of effort and strain on both of us individually and together to make this happen for him. We knew that the end result would be great and more beneficial for us together. And yeah, I mean, we obviously don't regret it. We're in a great place where we are now. And my husband is doing great things and I'm so proud of him. And it was, now looking back at it, we can both truthfully say that we are so happy that we lived with that temporary discomfort and strain on ourselves for what we have right now, which is what our goal was. And even right now, there are some things that we are living with that are temporary discomforts, but it is for our future and it's so that we don't have long-term regret. And yeah, I love this one. I think it's a great way to end off the video. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this long video. I'm sure it's pretty lengthy. I can talk a lot, obviously, as you can see. I obviously am filming this a little bit before my birthday. Obviously, this isn't me on October 20th. I wouldn't be able to film, edit, and upload this video in one day. It's just not something that I don't think I could force myself to do, but yeah, with that being said, I have a surprise for you guys. Whether or not I'm at 100 subscribers by the time next week's video rolls around, I am going to be putting out my stroke story video. It's completely unfiltered and super juicy, and it's probably going to be really emotional for me to film. I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna need a lot of Kleenex. I probably shouldn't do my makeup for that video, but we'll see what happens. But so this week's video came out one day before because my birthday is on a Wednesday, not a Thursday, like my usual posting schedule is. And then next week, my video is going to be one day late. I guess this will kind of even it out since this one came out one day early. Next week's will come out one day late. This is just because I really want to post my stroke story video on World Stroke Day, which is October 29th. So sorry about that, but hopefully this kind of makes up for next week's late video. If you watch to the end, then this will help you guys know why my video will be late. If not, I have updates on my Instagram as always. Thank you guys for sticking with me through this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share if you want. I liked doing this video. It was definitely a little bit more emotional than I thought it would be. I just wanted it to be a happy birthday video, but I ended up shedding a couple tears and getting a little bit choked up at times. But either way, thank you for sticking with me. And that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video on Friday, not Thursday, October 29th. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.